Now let's look at a larger problem. The same concepts that we've already discussed. Okay, we'll illustrate those and then we'll build on that. So here in this case study, we want to forecast price of gasoline to US consumers, unleaded gas per gallon. So we want to forecast the price in the future. Now, what factors will affect the price of gasoline? Well, obviously there are many factors that will have an impact. Okay, some of them are listed here in the textbook. Okay, obviously the price of crude oil is a major factor. In addition to that, there may be some other economic indicators like consumer income and economic activity, unemployment rate, retail sales, and so on and on and on. Weather conditions. Okay. Now in this chapter, since we are only looking at one influencing factor, one exploratory factor to define the values of Y, we look at only one X variable, which is the producer price of crude oil. So we will have gasoline price as your dependent variable Y and the producer price of crude oil as the X variable. Okay. Now there is a problem here, which is when we are trying to forecast into the future, if we have a regression line that says B sub 0 plus B sub 1 times X, the crude oil price, to predict what the gasoline price will be, then we now have to estimate what crude oil price will be in the future. So that makes the problem even harder. So it's not only that we are trying to predict forecast Y. In order to forecast Y, we have to forecast X, and there is variability associated with that X, and it will affect the variability of Y, and the problem becomes more complicated. So to keep it simple at this point in time, what we will do is we will look at crude oil price as a leading indicator, meaning that whatever the crude oil price this time period is, it will be related to the price of gasoline the next time period. So there is a lag between the price of crude oil, translating itself into the price of gasoline. So that's what we're going to look at in this particular example. So here we have the price of unleaded gasoline per gallon, and then the price of crude oil, we'll call that L1 underscore crude in dollars per barrel. So you have to define the units, and here the L underscore, the prefix L1 is used to indicate that the variable is lagged by 1 month. So price of gasoline in February would be associated with price of crude from January. Okay. Now we have this data from January 1996 through December 2010 in this file. Okay, and I have taken the data that is relevant to our example right now, which is just the gasoline price and the crude oil price lagged by 1. Okay, and I have that in the Excel file. Okay, and of this data, so we're going to have estimation data and holdout data. Okay, so here the observations plotted through December 2008. So that would be up to 2008 would be estimation. The balance January 2009 through December 2010 will be our holdout sample. Okay, now let's go to the Excel file. We are in sheet 2 of the same shell file, and the data is right here from gas price underscore 1. So here is the date. So notice that I have left out January, okay, because of the lag. So this is your January crude price lagged by 1 associated with the unleaded gas price per gallon. Okay, and this goes down till December 2008, and the holdout sample is the rest of the data. Okay, so our variables, so let's define our dependent variable is price of unleaded gasoline per gallon. Okay. Now independent variable is price of crude oil per barrel 1 month prior. Okay. 1 month before that. Okay. So now we can prepare two different graphs to see how the values are represented over the time series. Because this is a time series plot, so we can do a simple time series plot of the gasoline price, our dependent variable, just the dependent variable. Okay, so highlight just the dependent variable and do a line plot. Okay, so let's do a line plot. Okay, like that. Okay, now let's move it up. Now let's add the x axis values, which will be the dates. Okay, now this is the time series plot of gasoline price per gallon. Okay. And you can see over the time period the gas price slowly increases, but as we go towards the 2007-2008, the variability is much larger. So here there's not a whole lot of variability, but there is a lot of variability here. Okay, that's one point that we need to note. Now let's do a scatter plot between price of gasoline and crude oil. Crude oil price. So now the y value is first, and the x value comes next. So we cannot highlight both columns at the same time, so we have to go one column at a time. So we highlight the y values and insert a scatter plot. Okay, so now you go and select data, and here you edit and add the x values, which is the crude price, 1 month lagged crude price. Okay, so now we click OK. Now we have the, let's move it down here, and this is our scatter plot between, so this will be price of unleaded gas versus price of crude. Okay. Now x-axis is crude price per barrel, price of crude per barrel 1 month prior. Okay. And this will be price of gasoline per gallon. Okay. Now you see there is a clear linear relationship, and once again you can see the variabilities in some price ranges for the crude oil price. Okay. So this is the first step. You draw the plots. Okay. And then next we will estimate the regression coefficients.